To talk first to Republican Mike McCaul. He's the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. He is in Austin this morning. Well, Mr. McCaul, what now? It seems to me that the president has drawn a line in the sand, or whatever you want to call it here. Is that going to help or hurt the situation?
I think it hurts the situation. It poisons the well. Going into a new Congress, the American people spoke in the elections, and one of the first things out of the box is he grants amnesty to 5 million people. In your clip, he says that members of Congress question my legal authority to do this. So he himself said 22 times that he did not have the legal authority to do this. That's not how democracy works, he said. So I think this is a bit of a threat to our democracy. And Bob, regardless of where you stand on this issue, and I understand it's an emotional issue, but there's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do it. And I think the right way to do it is to work with Congress to get real results and solutions.
All right. Well, let's say he has said what he has said. So what will Republicans do? Are you planning on getting some legislation together and sending it to the White House? Or will you just try to block? Some people like Ted Cruz are saying, let's just hold up every nomination that he sends up to the Congress. Other people, I mean, there's even some talk, really not serious at this point, of maybe impeachment might be something to think about. What do you think Republicans ought to do next?
Well, I think the impeachment, listen, the constitutionality issue will be determined by the courts. I know there are various lawsuits. My state, now governor, attorney general, now governor, is filing a lawsuit against us. The courts will decide that issue. But I want to make one thing very clear. We are not going to shut the government down, but we are going to shut down this president and his actions as it pertains to granting amnesty to 5 million people. And so we are looking at various options on the table right now, including the power of the purse, things that we can do to stop this in the short term. In the long term, to your question, Bob, I think it's incumbent upon Republicans to come up with our own agenda, a positive, constructive agenda, which will lead, I believe, with my committee's bill, and that would be the border security bill. We have to get that security piece done to have intelligent immigration reform, and that's not being done right now. And lastly, the biggest concern I have is because of this talk of amnesty and reform, we're really inviting a whole other wave of illegal immigrants that we saw in 1986 when amnesty was granted, and also when DACA was that executive action. There is cause and effect. It did result in 60,000 children crossing the Rio Grande Valley sector in my state. So I think we want to do this methodically, smart, starting with border security and then looking at immigration reform measures.
Do you think anything can get done in this lame duck session, or will all this come next year?
I think the agenda comes next year. I think in the short term, with the lame duck, we have to figure out how we're going to keep the government open and not shut it down, and at the same time deal with this executive action, which I think overwhelmingly the American people are rejecting because of the way it was done. Again, he circumvented the will of the American people, circumvented the Congress that has authority under the Constitution to make laws. His is to faithfully execute the laws, and I believe he's failed in that responsibility.
Is there unity yet among Republicans? I mean, I hear what you're saying this morning. You sound very much taking the position that John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, the leaders of the Congress and the Senate, are taking. But you know as well as I do, there are others in your party that have different ideas here. How close are you to getting, say, the Republicans and the House together on a unified plan?
Well, again, this has to be done sequentially, and I think the more confidence our members have in the security piece being done, because you can reform the laws, but as long as people continue to flood to come into the country, that's not very intelligent. We need a border security bill first to secure it, and then the immigration reform piece. I will tell you, yeah, we're going to have divisions in our conference, but I think most of us understand that we have now been given a mandate to govern, to pass things out of the Congress, to deal with the challenges that are out there. And this is one of the biggest challenges and probably most difficult ones to fix. But I think there are leaders in our conference who are willing to move forward to fix a broken system.
All right. Well, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for being with us.